Hey friends, welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Oleg, this is Mr. Bond, and we talk about watches here. So in today's video, I have a review of Reverie Diver Watch. It just launched on Kickstarter and it's already fully funded. It's a pretty cool watch for two reasons. Number one, specs for the price are pretty impressive. It has the high beat Miyota movement, a stainless steel case, sapphire crystal, 200 meters of water resistance, pretty good lume. And the second reason, it's a really good size, 39 millimeters diameter, 42 millimeter lug to lug, so it's gonna fit all of you guys with smaller wrists. Finally, somebody's listening. Before we do the actual review, I just want to mention that this is a prototype version. It's not the final version. Final version will likely change and improve, hopefully. Hopefully they listen to my suggestions, because it's not a perfect watch. It does have some negatives, which I will get into. Of course, I'm returning this prototype. I'm not keeping it. However, they're gonna send us one of these watches when it comes out, I think December or January. None of this is gonna affect the review. Just want to be transparent. Now, let's get started with the review. Let's begin with the case dimensions. It has a diameter of 39 millimeters, so from this point to this point, excluding the crown. It's 42.5 millimeters from one lug to another, so from this point to this point. It has a lug width of 20 millimeters. However, the way this bracelet is designed, the widest points on the bracelet are actually 22 millimeters apart, so from this point to this point, but the lug distance again is 20 millimeters. And it's 12 millimeters thick. Here it is on my 7.5 inches or just under 20 centimeters wrist. 39 millimeter, 40 millimeter watches are the sweet spot for my personal preference. It is also quite slim, only 12 millimeters thick, so the proportions are actually quite similar to Tudor Black Bay 58. The fit on the wrist of this one, the overall comfort are excellent. It does wear like a true 39 millimeter. I don't think it wears larger or smaller than that. And it has a comfortable weight of 137 grams. It's launching on Kickstarter for $325 US as a Kickstarter price. I think at that price point, it's actually a pretty good deal. The specs on the watch are great and the finishes are pretty good. So we have a stainless steel case and bracelet. The finishes aren't outstanding, but the fine brushing in this price category under $350 US, I think is above average. It also has a screw down crown at the 3 o'clock position, signed with Reverie logo, and the crown is finished with a polish. So it gives a nice contrast between an all brushed case and a polished crown. Another little accent that the case has are these beveled edges. They play with the light really well and create a nice separation between otherwise all brushed case. A flat piece of sapphire with some AR coating. I think it looks really good with this design of a watch. Maybe a domed crystal would also look pretty good. And the styling of this watch is of course very reminiscent of 1970s diver watches, with that cushion style case, with the way this case is designed by the lugs. As I mentioned before, the way it's designed, the lug opening is 20 millimeters. However, the way this bracelet integrates, the bracelet is actually a little bit wider, so it's 22 millimeters and it flows seamlessly. It has a brushed stainless steel diver style bezel, 120 clicks, unidirectional bezel. The bezel action is not great. It sounds a little bit too tinny. It has this weird spring. As you can see, it has quite a bit of play on it. Look how much it's moving, and it hasn't even clicked once. I hope they fix that for the final production version. This is of course just a prototype version, but so far the bezel action is not very impressive. 200 meters of water resistance on this watch, largely thanks to that screw down crown at the 3 o'clock position, as well as the screw down case back. It's a display case back displaying the movement of this watch. You get a Miyota 9 series movement, caliber 9039 to be specific. It has 24 joules, it's a high beat movement, beating at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It has 42 hours of power reserve, and it's a hackable and hand-windable movement. An excellent choice of a movement, especially in this price category. Thanks to this movement, the watch is also much thinner than it would be with another movement that's very popular with microbrand watches, something like a Seiko NH35 is a thicker movement, thus would make the watch thicker, This thinner Miyota is a great choice. It's a high beat movement, it's a reliable movement, easy to service, easy to source parts for. It makes the watch thinner and gives it better value for money. I appreciate the design of this watch. It's simplistic, but it's not simple. I think in 2020, it's difficult to do an original diver watch, and I think Reverie did a pretty good job here. So what do I mean by simplistic but not simple? When you put all the parts of this dial and watch and case together, it looks like a nice simple watch, quite attractive if you ask me, but it's not that simple if you look at the individual parts. So first of all, let's look at the dial. It has 3 individual parts that make up the dial. So we have that outer ring, the minutes indicator. Then we have the ring below that with the hours indicator, applied indices for hour marks, of course loomed. And then it's a step dial. So there is also the most inner ring that's finished in this very interesting pattern and also has a sunburst effect. Looks very attractive, plays with the light really well, and overall adds some nice complexity to the watch. I also like the orange accents, that little writing on the dial by the 6 o'clock position, and the orange seconds hand. That looks great and gives a nice pop of color to otherwise a fairly monotoned dial. Sword style hands for hours and minutes, and also that orange hand is a two-tone actually. The very tip of it, as you can see, is in white and it is loomed. In fact, the whole watch has pretty good loom. It's a two-tone loom. BGW9, that's blue loom, and C3, that's the green loom. It looks attractive. It lasts for a pretty long time. The only complaint with the loom that I have is not evenly applied on the hands. I hope that's just a prototype version problem and the final production version will not have that issue. Attention to detail on this watch for the most part is really good. So for example, as I mentioned, the way this bracelet integrates into the case looks really good. I also like the choice of the movement. Once again, it's a Miyota 9 series movement, but it's not 9015 movement, it's 9039. Because there is no date complication on this watch, there is no ghost position, so the first position is actually the position to set the time. I appreciate that attention to detail. However, I can't say that the whole watch has amazing attention to detail. And that brings us to the bracelet. Don't get me wrong, the bracelet for the most part is really nice. I mean, it's kind of a copy of a Rolex Oyster bracelet. Even has the same clasp, the same links, of course solid links, solid end links with their nice release mechanism. I think more watch companies should do that. Makes changing watch bracelets a lot easier. And it has a hinge to release just like a Rolex clasp. It even has a glide lock mechanism. So you unlock it as so, you set it to your desired length, and then you snap it back into place. Alright, so all of that looks pretty good. What is your complaint, Oleg? Well, a couple of things actually with this glide lock mechanism. First of all, it's very rough, not very easy to operate. Hopefully that's going to be fixed for the final production version. Although I'm not sure, because this watch already packs so many specs that I don't know if they can actually perfect this mechanism and still keep the watch under $335. But the other problem with it is that when you set it to the lowest or the shortest setting of the bracelet, you can't close it. The links are too wide for the clasp. It doesn't fit. So you have to set it kind of somewhere in the middle, maybe somewhere closer to the edge, and then you can close it. So again, hopefully that's just a problem with the prototype version, and the final production version will have that problem solved. I certainly hope that Reverie watches this review and fixes those problems. But overall, great attention to detail with some aspects of the watch, but other aspects, especially this clasp and bracelet, are lacking a little bit. A few more things to mention about this watch. It was available in 3 different color combinations, and now it's actually available in 4 different color combinations because they reached their target goal. So now they're making this watch available also with the red dial. Out of all the color combinations, I like the green one, and I also like the silver dial one, the one that are reviewed. Those are the standouts for me. Also, looking at their Kickstarter campaign, looks like you will get a rubber strap with your watch, which makes it actually a pretty good value for money. $335 for this watch with these type of specs. Yes, it has some negatives, mainly that bezel action definitely needs improvement, and the issues with the clasp hopefully will be improved with the final production version. Other than that, pretty good watch if you're into the design, and especially if you have smaller wrists or if you're into smaller watches. This one does fit really nicely. It doesn't look like a Black Bay 58, but on the wrist, the size and dimensions kind of remind me of Black Bay 58, which is a good thing. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, we release new videos every week, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this diver. Are you picking one up? Are you letting this one go? Did you already back this campaign? Leave all those thoughts below. I always enjoy reading your comments. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing Zelos Mako version 2. Is the bronze version with the meteorite dial. I did a full review of this watch a while ago. That video can be found on the YouTube channel. I will also leave it linked in the description below. Also in the description below, there are a couple of other links. The first link is the secret link, have a look if you're curious. The second link is a link to bondnativestraps.com. If you're looking for a great quality native strap and want to support this YouTube channel at the same time, getting one of these native straps is a great way to do so. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you're staying safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Delicious? Good boy. Gotta chew them more.